We thank God and honor God in the sanctuary this morning. We thank Him for His presence and His power in this place. 2 Kings chapter 7. 2 Kings chapter 7. Kings chapter 7. I want to start reading at verse number 3. 2 Kings chapter 7, verse number 3 says, Now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate. And they said one to another, Why are we sitting here until we die? If we say we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall only die. And they rose at twilight to go to the camp of the Syrians, and when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise, no one was there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, the noise of great army. So they said one to another, Look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us. Let me preach for a few moments from the subject. It's time to bust a move. It's time to bust a move. Let me open today, ladies and gentlemen, by sharing with you life is all about time. From the time we are born until the time we die, we all have been given time. Time to do what? Time to fulfill our purpose. Time to fulfill our destinies. Time to make our mark inside of the earth. All right. Each one of us has been given time. Now the Bible is very, very replete. It's very clear when it says to us that there is a time for everything. Yes. The Bible says that there is a time to be born, and there is a time to die. There is a time to plant, and there is a time to pluck up. There is a time for living, and then there is a time to kill. Now I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, there in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the author goes on and delineates a lot of the things that there are time for. But what I like, ladies and gentlemen, out of all of the definitions of time, out of everything that we can find looking up the word time, the one definition that sticks out to me is the one that states time is a limited period or interval between two successive events. Give it to you again. Out of all of the definitions, out of everything that I read concerning time, after everything that I looked up concerning time, after I read through about 10 different definitions on dictionary.com concerning time, the one thing that stood out to me is that time is a limited period or interval between two successive events. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, time is what moves us between our in and out period. Time is the thing that moves us through the meantime and in between time. Time is the thing that moves us and directs us and gives us access to the different events of our life. Oh, y'all not going to talk back to me in here. Pastor, what are you trying to get me to see? What I'm trying to get you to see, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a time for everything. And if there is a time for everything, whether good or bad, things will not always be as they are. Do I have any help in the sanctuary? I don't care what it is that you're facing. I don't care what it is that looks good in your life. It doesn't matter what things look bad in your life. There is a time for everything. Time is the space or a limited period of interval between two successive events. So therefore, if time is a limited period, it means you only have a little while to stay where you are. I don't have no help in the sanctuary. If time is a limited period or an interval between two successive events, it simply suggests to us that we would not have to stay in the struggle too much longer, because time is going to turn and change and flip us to where we can say, and we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. If time is a limited period or interval, it simply suggests to us that there will only be so many bad days compared to good days. If time is a limited period or interval, it simply suggests to us that we won't have to cry for too much longer, because sooner or later the Lord will wipe away all of our tears. Is there anybody in the sanctuary this morning came to church just to say, God, I thank you for time? See, what we fail, God help me preach here, what we fail to understand is that time is the thing that matures us. Time is the thing that actually fixes us, it mends us, it molds us, it pulls us in different directions. Time is the very thing that God uses to get our attention. Time. Different that walks us through the different events of our life. Now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Please catch this. This definition, the definition of time, a limited period or interval between two successive events. This definition of time shows us, watch now, what we call chronos time.
All right.
Let me see, okay? Chronos is the Greek interpretation of time. Watch this. Chronos, it means a uncertain space of time. But that, ladies and gentlemen, there is also kairos time.
All right.
Which means a set or appointed time. Y'all missing me in here. You have chronos, which is a uncertain space or time. And then you have kairos, which is a set or appointed time. And I need to suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that while you and I right now are living in chronos time, we're living in uncertain space of time. We're living in some uncertain times. There are things we don't know if things will be here or not. We don't know whether we're going to have have or we will not have. It feels like the haves and the have-nots. Y'all ain't gonna talk back to me in here. You know, there is an uncertain space of time. Okay, let me see, can I help you? For all of my TV buffs, on Tuesday night that we watch the haves and the have-nots. All right. And for a very long period of time, Judge Jim Cryer has thought that he was on top of the world. He thought that nothing could get to him. Nothing could bother him. He had it made. He was doing everything that he needed to do with stepping over people, messing over people, doing things the way he wanted to do them, all because his name was Judge Jim Cryer. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me in here. And what happened is Judge Jim Cryer finally got hooked up with the wrong person in Chronos time. It was uncertain. It was uncertain. He didn't know what he was going to get when he met this young lady. He didn't know what he was going to get when he met Candace. But now that he met her, he wished Chronos time would change. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me in here. So you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when you're living in an uncertain period of time, things can happen that you didn't expect to happen. Things can happen that you didn't even think were coming your way. That's why it's Chronos time, because it is uncertain. You never know what you're going to get. But I came to suggest to somebody today, if you're living in Chronos time, you're in the right place, because as long as you're in Chronos time, God has a Kairos moment for you. I don't have no help in here. Pastor, I don't get it. What are you trying to get me to say? Kairos is a set time or an appointed time. Kairos, set time or appointed time. And I don't know who I'm preaching to in here, but I came to tell somebody, you're getting ready to step into your Kairos time. You're getting ready to step into your set time or your appointed time. Set time for what? Set time to receive a miracle. Set time to receive deliverance. Set time to see God work things out. Set time for things to be turned around. Set time for God to work it out. Set time. Is there anybody in the sanctuary that came to church this morning to say, I thank God for Chronos, but I praise him for Kairos? I don't have no church in here. I said, I thank him for Chronos, because Chronos prepared me for Kairos. The uncertain periods of time let me know that sooner or later God is going to step in and move me unto my appointed time. Do me a favor, look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, this is my time. Come on, y'all ain't talking to nobody. I said, look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, it is my time. It's my time to receive everything God has for me. It's my time to step into my destiny. It's my time to reach the goals that I have set. It's my time to see my future come to pass. It's my time to see all of my tears work out in my favor. It's my time to see all of my heartaches come to pass. It's my time to see every time I was down and out for me to reap a harvest on all of that stuff. Is there anybody in the sanctuary that came to church to say, God, thank you for a Kairos moment? There is a set time. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me here. I wish I had time to really unpack all of this. But there is a set time. Let me see, can I help you? Set time. Come here, Job. There was a set time. All right. For what? There was a set time for Job to have blunders. But then there was a set time for double blessings. Y'all missed what I said here. I said for Job, there was a set time for blunders. but then there was also a set time for blessing. I don't get it, Pastor. When you read the book of Job, it starts off by saying there was a man who lived in the land of Uz by the name of Job, one who feared God and eschewed evil. But one day, Job's sons and daughters were down there partying in the house, and a messenger came and said, Job, all of your children are dead. And before that messenger could finish the message, another messenger came and said, Job, all of your houses are gone. And before he could finish that message, another messenger came and said, Job, all of your cattle is now gone. In the time frame of a chapter, Job had a set time to have calamity. But as he went through the entire process, his body got sick in set time. His wife acted a fool in set time. But when you get to Job chapter 42, around verse number 10, the Bible says that time switches and it becomes a set time for change. The Bible says that Job now got double for his trouble. And I need to know, is there anybody in the sanctuary again can thank God for a set time, because you understand that I won't be where I am always. Yeah. Let me see, can I help you, ladies and gentlemen? So we got chronos, uncertain time. Then you have kairos, which is your set time. All right. So let me get out of here. Let's look at this text. The text suggests to us, ladies and gentlemen, it opens with 4 leprous men sitting outside of the city gates. The reason these 4 men are sitting outside of the city gates is because they have leprosy. Now, because these 4 men have leprosy, they are not allowed to be inside of the city limits. Yeah. Because they have leprosy, they have been ostracized from their family. Because they have leprosy, they cannot fellowship with others in the worship experience. Because they have leprosy, they cannot visit with their children. Because they have leprosy, their lives have been put on hold. Please catch this, ladies and gentlemen. These 4 men are confined to living on the outside for the rest of their life. Oh, I'm talking to somebody in here. Oh yes. These 4 men, they have been confined to living on the outskirts of the city. They have been confined to living in obscurity. They have been confined to being embarrassed for the rest of their lives, because in the book of Leviticus, if you do your study about leprosy, anytime anybody came about 10 feet close to anyone who had leprosy, they had to put their hand over their mouth and begin to cry, unclean. Y'all ain't gonna talk back. Y'all don't want me to work this thing out here. With leprosy, you had to be embarrassed. You had to go through some traumatic experiences. You wouldn't be able to experience triumph in the middle of your life, all because you had leprosy. Can I suggest to somebody, ladies and gentlemen, well, we may not have leprosy here in the church, but we do got a sin issue. And sometimes our sin issue causes us to have to cry unclean. God, I feel like preaching right through here. Is there anybody in the sanctuary ever experienced you messed up and the public got wind of your sin? And every time they see you, folks go to whispering and pointing. They go to looking and talking and squinting at the side of their eyes. All right, let me come to church for a little bit. Don't you ever mess up and let church folk find out that you messed up. Because when you finally mess up and church folk find out about it, you won't be able to live it down. And that's a know why I'm here. That's a sad indictment for the church. You don't want to hear somebody preach. You don't want to hear somebody sing. All because they did what you did. They sinned. All right, I don't mean no ugly harm to nobody, but how dare you turn your little snooty nose up at somebody, and the Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. I don't care what who you think you are. You ain't that good. You ain't that grand. You ain't got it all together like that. You can say who you want to see do what in the kingdom of God. What if God kicks you out? The church folk mentality. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm back. Leprosy. Kicked out. Unclean. Can't move. Got the nerve. Put on your judgment hat. These 4 men. Let me get to my text. All right. Put my glasses on. These 4 men confined to the outside of the city. They, ladies and gentlemen, are living in a kairos moment. Right. They're living in uncertain times. Please look at them. Look at them. There is no food in the city. And they have no food for themselves. All right. I wish I had time, ladies and gentlemen, to really go back and teach you the history of why there's no food in the city. Because in 2 Kings chapter 6, watch this. We only focus in 2 Kings chapter 6 on the floating axe head. Okay, put it to you like this. In between 2 Kings chapter 6 and 2 Kings chapter 7, there's a lot of time. All right. There was miracle time. What was miracle time? Let's start from the beginning. There was building time. How did you get building time, Pastor? 2 Kings chapter 6, starting at verse number 1, the sons of the prophet, sons of Elijah, come to him and say, Elijah, where we're learning is too small. Please let us go and let's build a bigger schoolhouse. Elijah gives them permission to go, and they begin to go build. Now, that's building time, right? Here comes miracle time. There's disaster time also, because the Bible says while they are building, one of the workers loses his axe head. His axe head falls into the water. So it's disaster time. But then there becomes miracle time, because he goes to Elisha and says, hey, alas, master, I lost my axe head. He says, all right, tell me, where did you lose it? He said, it fell in the water. Here's the miracle. Elijah takes a stick, takes the stick, throws it in the water, and the iron axe head begins to float. And he tells the man, pick it up, put it back on your axe, and let's go to work. So that was building time. It was disaster time. Then it was miracle time. But then here comes famine time. Because right after that miracle, the Bible says that the prophet Elisha prophesies a famine over the land. And the Syrians come and take over the land. And here's where we enter from chapter 6 into chapter 7 is where we get our famine from. But please catch this, ladies and gentlemen. These 4 men are already in a famine because of their situation. Oh, God, I wish I would let me loose me here. These 4 men are already in a bad situation simply because they are lepers. And to add insult to injury, there is a famine in the land. The text says in verses 3 and 4, watch this, and I'm done preaching, I'm out of here. The text says in verses 3 and 4 that they look at each other and they say, why are we sitting here until we die? If we stay where we are, we will die. If we go into the city, the Syrians will kill us. In other words, they said, we have nothing to lose. I don't have anything else to lose. I'm already at rock bottom. I'm already down and out. I'm already without anything. So it really doesn't matter if I stay here or I go into the city. If they kill me when I go into the city, it'll be all right. Because if I stay on the outside, I'm going to die anyway. And today I came to talk to somebody who came to church to say, out of everything I'm going through, I got nothing else to lose. If I make it, I just make it. If I don't make it, I don't make it. But I came to tell you, if you're here and you're feeling like you have nothing to lose, you're in the right place to bust a move. Y'all ain't gonna talk back to me here. I said, if you're feeling like you're in the sanctuary and you came to church and you feel as if nothing is going right, nothing, you have nothing to live for, you have nothing else coming to you, you're in the right place to bust a move. Please do me a favor, look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, we got to bust a move. Now please understand it, ladies and gentlemen, busting a move is not just a saying, it's not just something that we dance to, but busting a move is a mindset. Busting a move is a way of life, but busting a move is the believer's faith walk. I don't have no help in the sanctuary. The Bible says to us in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse number 7, that we walk by faith and not by sight. Let me see. Paul said it best then. He said, faith without works is dead. That's why you got to learn to bust a move. You sometimes got to get up from where you are and get moving to get something that you never had before. And I don't know who I'm preaching to in here, but is there anybody here that said, today I'm sick of being where I am and I'm ready to bust a move? I don't have no faith folk in here. Is there anybody here that came to church to say today, to say, God, I've been sitting here too long. I've been sitting on the outside of the city for too long. I've been sitting outside of my destiny for too long. I've been sitting outside of my miracle for too long. But now I'm ready to bust a move. Do me a favor, look at your neighbor, tell them, neighbor, if I had to do anything else, I'll bust a move right now. See, the problem sometimes is busting a move may require us to do some things that we would not normally do. Busting a move will cause you to act in some ways that you might not normally act in. But I heard somebody say, if you need a ridiculous miracle, you got to do some ridiculous stuff. And I don't know about you, but I'm in need of some ridiculous blessings. So I gotta bust a ridiculous move. Is there anybody in the sanctuary that came to church this morning and say, God, thank you for giving me the opportunity to bust a move? Is there anybody here that can say, God, thank you for holding on to my faith long enough that I can get to the point of where I can bust a move? Let me see, can I help you? Come here, Peter. The Bible says in Luke chapter 22, around verse 31, Simon, Simon, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But Jesus says, I busted a move. I prayed for you that your faith would not fail. And when you return to me, strengthen your brother. Do me a favor, look at your neighbor and tell him, neighbor, I'm about to bust a move. And when I bust a move, I'll be on my way back to where I'm supposed to be. This time when I bust a move, I'll walk in the destiny that God has already ordained for me. Is there anybody in the sanctuary that came to church this morning to say, I'm ready to bust a move? Well, let me close the lesson. Watch the text in verses 5 and 6. The text says that these four men, they bust a move. The Bible says they get up and they go inside of the city gates. But to their surprise, the city is empty. Y'all don't know when to shout. Now I told you earlier that the Syrians had already occupied the city. And these four men, leprous men, had to live on the outside. But when they finally decide to bust a move, God feel like preaching here. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I came to tell you, if you move, God said then he'll move. If you go ahead and bust one, he said I'll take one and do one. Is there anybody here that can take what grandmama used to say? If you take one step, God will take two. Look at your neighbor, tell him, neighbor, tell him I know that's right. Tell him I tried him and I found out that God will step in and move with me. And so the Bible says that these four men, they get together and they go inside of the city gates. But to their surprise, the gates of the city was empty. The text says that God caused the Syrians to hear a sound of chariots and horses, and they fled. But here's where you can shout. The Syrians did not participate inside of the famine. They still had all of their food. They still had all of their gold. They still had all of their clothes. But when God sent the sound of war into the enemy's camp, these four men were able to go in and get everything that the enemies had. God, he moved the Syrians, but he made sure that they left their stuff. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, if you ever go ahead and bust a move, God will give you a miracle inside of your family. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, so I'm expecting a miracle inside of my family. Yeah. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, tell him God is working on my case. But all I got to do is just bust a move. Is there anybody here that came to church this morning to say, I'm ready to bust a move? I'm ready to go ahead and step into my K-Ross moment. I got to leave y'all here, but these four men had a set time to get into their destiny. Now I want you to understand, the Bible never said that these four men got healed of leprosy. The Bible never said that God left them in the city. The Bible never says that they got healed. But what it does say is that those four men went into the tents and got what they needed and took it to the king and said, oh king, here you go. And the Bible says that the king, he blessed the four lepers. They never got healed. They were blessed with their mess. Y'all miss what I said. I said they got blessed with all of their sins still on them. They got a miracle, still being lepers. And I came to tell you, church, don't you let nobody judge you because of your sin. Don't you let nobody hold you back because of your mess ups. Don't you let nobody keep you in bondage because you got leprosy. God has a way of busting a move that will take you to where you need to be. Is there anybody here that came to church this morning and say, God, I thank you. Tell them, God, I thank you that you gave me another set time. Go ahead, look at your neighbor and tell them, neighbor, tell them this is my set time. Tell them this is, y'all gonna read the Bible on me, all right? This is my set time. saying, this is my way out. I got the Bible for you. The Lord told me to tell you that I'll bless you in the city and I'll bless you in the field. I'll bless you when you come and I'll bless you when you go. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, that's set time. So no matter what, I shall be blessed. No matter what, I'm going to get my miracle. I wish I had a real church in here. Is there anybody here that would get excited about your time? And when you understand that your time is right now, and all you got to do is just bust a move. Is there anybody here that was just gonna walk it by faith? I wish I had just a few walkers here. Is there anybody here that would say, I'm walking into my destiny? I'm walking into my promise. Hey, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, tell him this one ain't got nothing to do with you. It's all about me. Look at somebody and say, it's my time. Come on, y'all ain't talking to me here. I said, look at somebody and say, it's my time. Man, I said, get out of your seat and move around the sanctuary and tell somebody it's my time. I suffered long enough. I cried long enough. I've been in pain long enough. I've been without long enough. But it's my time to receive my reward. If you believe it, go ahead and give it praise for it. If you believe it, you ought to open your mouth and give God glory for it. Hey, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, say it's my time. I'm moving on to another place in God. I dare you to bust a move right now. Give it praise. Standing everywhere I'm done.
Yes, sir. Why you playing?
Gotta bust a move. Gotta bust a move.
My turn.
Gotta move from where you are to where you need to be. There is a season that is upon us. God has ordained us that if we just move by faith, He will handle the rest. And for some of us, we're going to be stuck because we're disobedient.
My Lord, my Lord.
For some of us, we'll stay where we are because we're comfortable. But I need my faith walkers. I need those who believe that you can walk on the water. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 14, disciples told Peter, you can't get out there and walk on the water. Said, Peter, you're not Jesus. Said, Peter, you can't do it. Peter said, what good does it do for me to name His name, but I don't possess His power? And the Bible says that Peter began to bust a move. The Bible said he stepped out on the water. And he walked on the water as long as he focused on Jesus. I came to tell somebody today Today is your day to bust a move. Whatever it is you're going to do in this season, do it. And do it quickly. Bust a move. 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 If you move in this season, I guarantee you God will take the rest in his hand. Clap your hands. Give God